Well, the last few months we've been looking at, well, mainly phone videos. So a few of you guys have asked me for GoPro, and today what we're doing is GoPro. What we're going to do is go around the town that I live in, get close to the town, see where the lights are, see where we can shoot, and then we might head out of town and shoot as well. So basically what this video is going to be is how to deal with light pollution and how you can set up your camera to deal with light pollution and still capture the Milky Way in and around lights. The main difference in this between GoPros and phones is the edit, and we'll get to that in the end. Let's get into it. So for regular viewers of this channel, you know where I live. It's in a small rural town in Victoria in Australia. Where I'm parked right now is it's in town. We've just pulled up to this park, and they've recently redone this park, and there's a little bit of a boardwalk out here, and that's where I want to take a photo tonight. So we should be able to get a bit of Milky Way in this photo, but town is right there behind me. You might be able to see it, all the buildings and so forth. So at night that all lights up, and down here on the park along the water's edge there's also a bit of lighting. So we'll have a look and see what we can come up with, work out where the Milky Way is and see if we can shoot it tonight. So down here we've got this little pontoon. They've recently done this, so I actually haven't taken photos here before. I think it might be all right. I've done it before the pontoon was made, but now we can get out into the water a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to get some reflection off this water. We might be able to, we might not be able to. What I do see though is there's bloody lights everywhere down here. I bet this looks awesome at night, but for what we're doing here, it's probably not going to work that well. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All these are all lights. And like I say, it's probably awesome for coming down here at night time and having a bit of a paddle in the water. But for what we're doing with photography, it's probably not going to be that good. So what we might do, this is east, that's where the sun's coming up at the moment. Now I'll tell you what, it's pretty bloody warm already. I was going to get in the shade a little bit because that sun's a bit bitey already. So that's the east. This time of year, the Milky Way is going to rise up from there. How do we know that? Well, experience for one, and for two, we'll use photo pills. I'll show you how it works. So with photo pills, we're going to go into the night AR mode, and we'll have a look around here. What it does is it uses the camera on the phone as well as the program, and we can fast forward time here, and you can see there up the top left hand corner is where the time of the night is. So I'll say 3 o'clock in the morning or so, probably 3:15, the galactic core, which is where that yellow dot is, it's going to be sitting roughly there. So if we came here at roughly that time of the morning, we should be able to get that photo. So the only thing I'm really not sure of is this lighting that's here. I haven't done this before at night, so we'll see what it happens. And look, it'll be a good test for what we can do when we go out and take photos anyway, when you guys go out and do it. So what I would look at here is I'll go, well, there's lights, and there's lights all the way along that edging there, and there's lights all the way along this edging here. So this area right here may not work. We shall see. If it doesn't work, well, already I've got to start thinking about where else I'm going to try and do this. And I think down there on the other side of that tree would probably work. I'm just going to have a look, because I just saw on this other little jetty that's over here, there's lights on that, and there's lights on this one here too. So I've got a feeling this water will all get lit up and it will blow the photo out, and it won't be able to work the way we want it to work. So we're going to try it, and if it doesn't work, I'll head down this way a bit, because the new works are actually not down this way. So this should work. There's no lights here at all. There's no lights there behind me. Town is just there though, so there might be a bit of light pollution from that. But we should be able to set the phone up down here on the ground, the GoPro. We should be able to set it up roughly this sort of height here, where you're looking right there now, and shoot out and get the galactic core. You may also see there's a bit of cloud around, so we might get screwed over with the weather yet anyway. Anyway, I'll go and have a look at another location, and it'll be less light polluted than what this one is. Now just out of town a little bit, we go past this caravan park that's here, maybe a kilometre or so out of town, and there's a little jetty that a boat used to pull up at, little like scenic sort of tour sort of boat. It's not a big jetty, it's just really small, but it's overlooking a bit of swampland, and that could make a good photo for Milky Way photography. Let's go and check it out. So here we are at the second spot that I'm going to shoot at, or it could even be the third, depending on how that first photo works. But here we are just on the edge of town now. Town's just through the bush a little bit there. There's a there's a road sitting there behind me, which you've probably just heard that car go past. But out here, what makes our town really quite cool and unique is that we have this creek running through the middle of town. But as I said, we're outside of town a little bit now, but this is the sort of view that we can shoot here tonight. So what I'm looking to do here is some of this dead trees, the deadfall in the ground here, the small lower hanging stuff. We'll try and get some Milky Way up behind that, and we might even be able to use a bit of framing composition with these lower hanging branches here. And I think if I set the GoPro up down here on the jetty, I think I'll be able to get the Milky Way coming up somewhere out there where that dead tree is. So I should be able to get the Milky Way coming up here, bordered by the trees and by the ground here. And it should, in theory, be a good photo. I do think though that the focusing on the GoPro, because we don't control that at all, I've got a feeling this one here will struggle, because you've got these branches that are right here, and it'll try and get that into focus, and the stars will probably not be in focus. I think it'll struggle a little bit. I think what we'll end up with is probably a bit of artifacting and stuff like you get on the iPhone 11 and 12 when you don't shoot in RAW. Another option here is to shoot straight out this way, because out this way what you're going to have are these branches coming out here, and you can probably see in the image that you're looking at now the reflection of these trees and the reflection of these trees at night. I think that'll be a pretty bloody good photo too. So we'll take two photos from here and we'll see how they look. One will have the Milky Way in it, the galactic core, and the other one will probably just have some stars, because the galactic core will be over this direction over here, not so much here. So we're about 1 kilometre out of town, so we'll try a bit further out and we'll see, as the light pollution gets less and less, what we can see. So this is the third spot we're going to try. This is what is called, this place here is Dalton's Bridge. This is Dalton's Road, and this little bridge that we just drove across is Dalton's Bridge. And I like this in that it's not far out of town at all, but it's also got a little bit of water. We might be able to get reflection, although the trees here are probably a bit too tall to get reflections. I'll show you what I mean. So the trees, the Milky Way will come up right behind those trees there. And I suspect, oh well, we'll certainly give it a go. We might get some reflection in this water here. We may not. But basically what we'll do is we'll hook up the GoPro onto the edge of this bridge here, and well, it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning, so well, it's kind of peak hour now. So we'll hit the hook the GoPro up onto the bridge with the Joby tripod that I'm holding onto right now, and we'll take the photo from here. We should get a little bit of light pollution from town. It's not that far away. There's a highway there. There's some buildings over here. There's a gun club over here. I'm not sure what lights actually come up here at night time. I honestly don't know. So we should be able to get some reasonably good photos here. In fact, what I'll even do here tonight is I'll shoot it with the phone as well, and we'll see with the Samsung. The only thing that's a little bit concerning is the weather. The forecast says it's going to clear overnight. There's a bit of cloud, as you may have seen in some of this footage. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll be right. So that's Dalton's Bridge Road. And now what we'll do, we'll head out to Mount Hope. I've been out there quite a few times. And it's a fair bit more out of town. There's virtually no light pollution out there at all. On the horizon, we'll probably see a little bit of Bendigo, maybe a little bit of Echuca. And by the time we get there in the morning, because we would have started in town at 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 3:30, possibly even 4 o'clock, just depends on how I'm feeling. We'll get out there and it'll be pretty dark, and the sun will probably start coming up while we're out there, maybe. But there'll definitely be no light pollution. We might get some cars. In fact, that's something else that we'll probably try out there, is setting up for astrophotography on the side of the road and see if we can get some light trails from the car at the same time. That would be kind of cool. Anyway, let's get out there and have a look. So this is the last place that I'm going to go and have a look at in the morning. This is the other side of Mount Hope. Mount Hope I've been to in many videos that I've done on this channel. It's, well, where we live is pretty flat, and Mount Hope is pretty much the only sort of hilly feature. So we've just come the other side of Mount Hope. We're on the Leachville Pyramid Road, I believe this is, or Bendigo Pyramid Road, whatever the hell it is. It's the main road that gets us from Kahuna to Bendigo, which is kind of like one of the bigger towns nearby. So we get a little bit of light pollution on that on a very clear night with high ISO in that direction out there. But the main reason that we're here today for this location is not these bloody flies. They're kind of annoying. It's this, the windmill. So I've shot this a few times. East is out this way, and we will hopefully get the Milky Way, the galactic core, coming up just up there behind the windmill. It should make a pretty good photo. So it's pretty safe, although I would say be careful on this sort of situation. Like, you can see a long way in that direction, and you can see a long way in that direction for any vehicles and stuff that are coming through. So at night or earlier in the morning, what I'm probably going to do is set up just about here with the windmill right there, and the galactic core will come up behind it. So the sort of view that we're going to have is similar, I guess, to roughly that there. The other thing that we'll try here is some passing cars. So while I'm shooting the Milky Way, if I'm lucky enough, I might get some cars coming past. You can see this is this is one of the busiest roads that we have around here, and it's just, well, it's freaking peak hour. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning at the moment. Look at it, it's crazy. But if I set the camera up just over here, right there, and say pointing out this way to where the Milky Way will be rising, I might be able to get cars coming down here with their lights on, the tail lights, and putting red light through the photo. So that would be certainly a pretty cool photo. What that's going to do though is really test the dynamic range abilities on this GoPro. I'm going to get back in my car because these flies are driving me freaking nuts. Let's talk about the settings on this camera. So firstly, in case you haven't worked out already, every single bit of footage that we're using right now is shot with this GoPro Hero 9. So the photos that we're taking though, by default, the night photo mode is actually pretty good. And we're not going to change the settings on any of these photos that we take in the morning. All the changes that you're going to see and all the adjustments that we're going to use to fix all of this and adjust it so it's a reasonably good photo will be done in Lightroom on the computer, or you can do it on your phone. It's the same principles, and make this photo somewhat better than what the camera will do. It is different to a mobile phone. So the ways that we edit mobile photos or photos from the mobile phone in Lightroom, it's going to be slightly different with a GoPro. Some of the settings just are not the same. So the settings that we're going to use, if you go into night mode and go into the pencil, we're going to shoot raw, always shoot raw for this sort of photo. Go down, you'll see white balance there, and the white balance is irrelevant because we're shooting raw, we can change that after. The most important thing here is you want a 3-second delayed timer, so you don't want to be touching that camera when it's set up, mainly because I'm using it on a Joby tripod. It's like small, so it's on the ground, and chances of you knocking it around and stuff are higher. So I generally just touch it, leave it 3 seconds, and let it take the photo. ISO minimum is 100. ISO maximum is 800. You don't want to go too high for the ISO because you just increase too much noise. And the sensors on this, well, it's kind of small and it's really bad for noise, the digital noise when you're using a high ISO. Keep the color flat and keep the sharpness to medium. GoPros have a really bad habit of over sharpening everything, and that creates more noise. So leave it to medium, put on low if you want to. And really guys, that's about it. All right guys, we went out and took all these photos this morning. You've seen them already. I've already put them into the edit on the video that you would have seen. They're the end results, if you like, of the edit that I've done. I'll run you through now what I actually did in those edits. There's, what's that, 6, 8 photos here. We'll do a quick edit on all of these and you can see what I do. The first photo that we've got here, this is the raw file. You can see up there by the .gpr file. So this is the first photo. Remember all those lights that were along that jetty? And you can see in the water there, really blown out. So what we'll do first, I'm going to increase, what I'm looking at here is the sky. And what I want to do is increase this exposure until I can just start to see the galactic core, and I can start to see it there. I'm going to go down to blacks and increase the blacks, increase the whites a little bit, and you can see that both of those bring out more of the galactic core. Now you can see the bottom there, it's heavily blown out by those lights that were along the jetty. So we're going to use the tool, the gradient tool, and we'll bring it up from the bottom corner here, leave it reasonably narrow because the gap between where that light is and the horizon, if you like, is pretty small. So we don't need to make it that big. I'll decrease that. I'll decrease the whites, decrease the blacks. And that'll probably do us there, I think. I'll take the shadows down too. It's a little bit there still. Not much we can do about that. And I'm just going to leave it like that. Now the white balance on this, it looks a little warm. I'm going to decrease it just a little bit. I don't mind that. I'm going to put a radial tool there, like I do with most of the edits that I do with the galactic core. I'll put that over the galactic core, and I'm going to increase the clarity, raise it up a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of cloud there. Raise the clarity, raise the contrast, increase the white balance just a little bit, and the dehazing just a little bit. I don't think that looks too bad there. I'm going to do something about the noise because it's quite a noisy photo. I'm going to zoom in there, you can see it. I'm going to change the profile on this in just a sec. We'll go down to this where it says enable profile, and it's got GoPro in there, and the fusion is just totally wrong. We're going to go to the Hero 6 because that's pretty bloody close to what we want. I'm just going to crop that in a little bit. I actually don't mind that. I'm going to look at that gradient tool again and just increase it oh so slightly, just so it doesn't look like such a harsh line. That'll do. So that's the first photo. Let's go to the second photo. Again, it's a raw file. We'll do it a little bit differently this time. I'm just going to hit the auto button and see what happens. It'll blow everything out. You can see there the galactic core in the sky there behind it, but you can see all those lights from that jetty are really blowing out this photo. So we'll decrease the highlights as much as we can. That's probably going to be it. We'll increase the blacks a little bit. I'm mainly looking at the galactic core up there. We'll get this radial tool. This is a pretty quick edit here, guys. The radial tool, I think, is probably the most important thing when it comes to bringing out the detail in the galactic core. That's pretty good, just like that. I should have done the bloody profile first, doesn't matter. Go down here, put that same profile in. GoPro 6 black. It's a little bit of an angle. Now, with GoPros, because you don't have something to line up on as such, especially with astrophotography, I will generally put it to what the Mark 1 eyeball says is flat, and then I'll fix up any sort of angle, if you like, or tilted horizon in post here. So it's going to change that composition just a little bit. Yeah, I quite like that. I'm going to increase the blacks just a little. Yep, I like that. So what I'm going to do now, because I've got a few photos and you don't want to sit here watching me edit all of these, I'll hit on the first one, shift click on the last one, synchronize these settings, get rid of the crop, because we don't want to crop everything. They're not all crooked. Some of them probably are though. And we'll let that go across all those. That'll save me some time. Let's go to the second one. Well, that didn't save me any bloody time at all, did it? Let's hit the auto button. We'll increase the exposure. Ah, I see what's happening here. Now, when I was out there at this jetty, this is the second location that I went to, at the jetty, we can see that we've kind of struggled a little bit with the focusing now, and I thought we might. I'm going to crop it in a little bit here, just so we take advantage of the framing with those trees on the top of the photo there. You've got some stars in the reflection. To be honest, I don't think it's a bad photo. It's for a GoPro. We'll certainly fix it up a little bit here though. I'm going to increase that contrast, probably to around the middle there. Increase the clarity, increase the dehazing. We'll go down and we'll do something about this noise. We'll zoom in. We don't want to lose too many stars when we do this with the noise. That's not too bad. I'm going to increase the blacks on this, see if we can get something out of the foreground there. It's not too much. I'm going to try a gradient tool on the bottom and increase the exposure just a little bit, and the blacks just a little bit to there. Yeah, that's not too bad. For a GoPro, I think that's pretty good. Now the next one is the photo that we took off to the side. This grey this grey line that you see up the side there is actually the steel post. So we don't want that. Let's crop that down a little bit and get rid of that post. Now this actually doesn't look too bad. I think this will be a good photo. We'll increase the contrast and increase the blacks. You will see that as I'm doing all of these things, if you've watched me edit any phone videos before, or phone photos, you'll see that what we're doing here is somewhat different. What we would expect to see when we increase the blacks, we would expect to see a lot of the blacks increase, and for some reason with the GoPros, they just don't do that. I'm going to zoom in there and get rid of the noise. That's about as much as I want to get rid of. There's a little bit of artifacting in there. You can see one of those, what they call Magellanic clouds, is that right? Can't remember if that's the way you say it. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I don't think that looks too bad. It's not too bad at all. For a GoPro, again, I think that's pretty good. Where are we here? This is at Dalton's Bridge. These look pretty dark, these videos, these photos. I'm going to increase everything straight off the bat. You can see that galactic core coming on nice and hard there. That's good. I like that. We'll increase the clarity. We'll do something about this white balance. The white balance doesn't seem to be the same as what it was on the first one. I don't mind that there. Let's get that radial tool onto the galactic core. I want it roughly the same size of the orange cloud that if you like, that's just there. Put it to there. We'll increase the clarity and we'll increase the exposure just a little bit. Yep, that's good. We'll go down and get rid of this noise. And the main thing that I find different with GoPro photos or GoPro images that I'm editing here is this dehazing slider. Now on a phone, you see I'm sliding that all over the place from 0 to 100 and it's making no effect at all on that photo. Whereas on a phone photo and on a regular DSLR photo, that haze that's in the background there, it'd be gone. What have we got here? This is the first windmill photo. So I'm going to reset that and hit the auto button and see what it does. That's actually not too bad straight away. I'm going to increase the highlights a little bit, see if we can get some light on the horizon in there. These are pretty quick edits here, guys. I'm just really showing you the differences between this and the phones and how you would edit these up. You can spend more time on these, getting them a bit more precise with the noise reduction, with the contrasts. You can certainly put this into Photoshop and do some more funky stuff with the blacks in the foreground. What this photo here demonstrates really well is the fisheye effect from this lens. So if we look in the center here, we've got a little bit of star trailing here, and this is the windmill in the front here. There's a lot of artifacts around here, but if I go out to the edge of the frame, look at that. And that's the fisheye effect from the GoPro. Those lines way out there on the edges, those stars that are just formed into lines, it's not that cool. But if you've got a GoPro and you're doing this sort of thing, that's what you can expect. I'm going to increase the clarity a little bit. Let's put a radial tool over that. Bring it down to there. Increase the white balance just a little. The clarity will do a little, and dehazing will do nothing. So as you start to edit these, if you watch my other videos on editing, you'll definitely notice that this is somewhat different. The clarity on that radial tool doesn't work nearly as well on the GoPros. It is what it is, guys. We can't do a great deal about that. Let's go down to, these should be cool. These are the two photos here that I took with a galactic core in the background and with a car traveling through the photo. So I'll reset that, hit auto, and it did virtually nothing. Let's increase the exposure somewhat, and the blacks somewhat. That actually looks kind of cool. I do like that. There's a bit of a curve through the photo, and that's just the lens profile. So we'll turn on the lens profile to the Hero 6 black, and we're pretty well straight right there. I'm just going to crop this in a little bit, just to put those lines on the bottom third. Yeah, I like that. Let's get that radial tool over the core. This is probably my favorite photo that I took this morning. And we'll put the clarity up. That's a good one. Dehazing. Oh, we can bring haze in on this photo. It's taking much out. It takes a little bit out. So it's just unusual. I think it's almost like it's a little bit hit and miss as to whether the dehazing slider will do anything or not. Yeah, it's a weird way to edit these photos. Not sure why it is the case, but it is the case. We'll increase the noise reduction and the color noise reduction. And you know what? I reckon that's a pretty good photo. I'm going to get that one and highlight the next photo and synchronize that because they're basically the same photo. There you go. I don't need to change anything. I think that looks quite good. Right, guys, that was a pretty bloody long video. There's a few guys that have been asking for GoPro stuff, and I thought rather than just go out and shoot one location, I think you're going to get more out of it by going to different locations with different sorts of light pollution and then do a quick edit on every one of those photos. So the guys who have been watching this channel for so long, because we've done some really kick-ass GoPro stuff in the past, this should give you a bit of a touch-up and you should be happy. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Catch you later.